Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe for another action figure review, and today we're taking a look at the brand new Savage Crucible Royal Guard figure. And if you're not familiar with Savage Crucible, it's an independent line that was funded through Kickstarter sometime last year. They had a very successful campaign, they have all kinds of cool figures on the way, and they're about to start shipping to the Kickstarter backers. This one was sent to me as a review sample, so huge thank you to the awesome folks over at Savage Crucible. I love what they have going on, and you know, from my experience, all of them are really cool people. You know, they helped me out a lot when I did my Kickstarter, just with some advice and support. So they're awesome people, and I'm very thankful that they considered me when they decided to send out some review samples. So huge shout out to them. But let's go ahead and jump right into this, starting off with the packaging. As you can see, we have some very cool looking artwork here on the front. It says Savage Crucible there at the bottom. On the side it says Royal Guard. And then on the back, we have a little bit of information about the story. Not really information, but just like a, you know, kind of like some words to kind of set the mood, you know? So that's awesome. And then we open the front of the packaging here, and then that's where you can see the actual figure. And he's looking amazing. He's got some accessories, and then behind him there's a map that, you know, is probably very significant for the story. And then on this side we have a bunch of information about the character and the situations that we have going on here. So really good stuff, man. The packaging looks amazing. The artwork is very crisp and clean. The box looks nice. It's collector friendly. And when you open it up, you're able to see the figure. Then we have some information about the world. So pretty much everything that you could ask for in a packaging for a new figure. So it looks awesome. But enough about the pretty box. Let's go ahead and get this guy out and take a look. Alrighty, so here we have the Royal Guard soldier right out of the box. And as you could see, this is a really dope looking figure. I love the design. It's kind of like a, you know, like an armored reptilian warrior. The sculpting work has a whole bunch of detail. There's all kinds of crazy stuff going on in the armor, and we'll take a look at that when we get in close, but all of it is really well done. The skin has some nice sculpting work, some nice texture and depth. The paint work looks good. So yeah, man, this is a great looking figure. I went ahead and put his swords into the sheath, so he's all decked out with his weapons. And I was really impressed with the amount of articulation that these guys have, especially like in the torso. There's a lot of good stuff going on here. One thing I dislike about the figure though is that the feet feel very soft, and it's kind of hard to get him to stand up. He kind of wants to topple over. But if you get him in like a crouched pose or a walking pose, he should be okay. But just standing there, I'm definitely having a little trouble. But aside from that, man, everything else here is really, really dope. And they did a fantastic job with the sculpt and the details on this guy, starting off at the head. Obviously, it's like a reptile lizard kind of creature, so his head, you know, it looks like a lizard. So that's nice. But they did a great job with the sculpting work. I like how he does have some like angry facial features in there, so that's really nice. And then check out the texture of the skin. It kind of has like a scaly type of look. So that looks dope. Man, I love the way they did the eyes. They kind of have like an orange, fiery type of look to them. And it's a nice contrast when compared to like the skin, which is a very dark color, you know? Man, that's really dope. And then I love these stripes and lines that we have throughout the figure, especially on the face, because it kind of looks like war paint, you know? So that's dope. And obviously I know that lizards have all kinds of different stripes and designs on them, but right here it kind of feels that they intentionally did it like this to make it look like war paint, so I think that's cool. We have some more lines here at the top. And yeah, all of it looks really good. Man, check that out. And then he can open his mouth, which is always nice because then it changes the entire look of the head sculpt. So yeah, they did a great job on the head here. And then moving down to the armor, look at all the detail in the armor. I love like the snakes that we see in there. That is super cool. Same thing right here on the shoulder pad. We have like snakes or dragons or something. I guess they don't have wings, so they're not dragons, but yeah, it all looks really good. And this armor is removable. Like there are these little straps in the back that you can unplug and then take the armor off, but I did it once and then it was really hard to peg this back in, so I don't want to keep doing it, but it is possible. And then we do have these sword holder things in the back. I don't know if they're really considered like sword sheaths because they don't come all the way down. But I like the way they did it here because like you don't have to pull these things in and out from the top because there's a little slit on the side. So you could just pull them out like that, and it's very easy to get the swords in and out of there. And I like this way a lot because if it was a full-on sheath that you would have to pull out from the top, it'd be difficult because the weapons have like a unique shape to them. So I think that's a really cool way to do it. Then speaking of the holsters here, as you could see, there's like a belt sculpted on there that looks really nice, and it's painted very well. And then back here we have some more awesome looking armor design. Some more scaly skin there. And I like here on the front how we have some different colors. It kind of fades from like a light color on the belly there to a darker color around on the sides and around the back, you know. So really cool. And then check out the detail on the belt piece. I don't know if this is called a belt. Probably not, but you know what I mean. The waist armor. But look at that, man. Look at all the detail that we have going on in there. Then some more sword holders here on the side. Man, look at that. They went crazy with the details on the armor. Same thing down here. Oh, I love the snakes coming up the shin there. Man, the paint is so clean. Like, I don't see any imperfections. Damn. Really nice. Then we do have his feet. So yeah, man, they killed it with the sculpting and the paint work. The paint is really impressive. A lot of times when I get in close with my camera, you could see little imperfections, but I didn't notice anything wrong on this figure. Like, everything looked really crisp and clean and extremely well done. But yeah, man, they killed it with the sculpting, the details, and the design on this guy. And then for accessories, he doesn't come with a whole lot, but he does come with some cool stuff, including 2 sets of hands. So first off, we have a set of open hands, and then we have a set of gripping hands. And the gripping hands can be used to hold on to the swords that he comes with. And speaking of the swords, we get 2 sets of swords. So this is the first set here, and as you can see, these are really nice. Check out the details on the handle here. Man, they went all out with the sculpting on the figure itself and on the weapons. So look at that, man. That looks really nice. And then check out the blade on this guy here. It's got like a big old blade with a bunch of scratches. It definitely looks like it's been through a couple of battles. And then I like this hook here at the end. That could definitely jack someone up, you know. But yeah, this is a really cool looking sword. And then we get a set of these guys here. It's like a smaller type of sword. And check out the detail on the handle here. Like, the wrap is all painted, and then we have some like gold type of color there, or like not gold, but more of like a bronze or brass type of color. So that's nice. And then the blade looks really good too. So yeah, I think both sets of swords are really nice, and I like that he came with some extra hands. So pretty good stuff at the accessories. And then we also get this really cool looking oversized trading card. And as you can see, we have some really good looking artwork here on the front. And then on the back, we have a bunch of information. And by the looks of this, it's almost like you could collect these and maybe play like a game with them. Kind of like Magic or Dungeons and Dragons or whatever. I'm not too familiar with that kind of stuff, but it kind of feels like you could play some type of game with the information that I see right here. It kind of has like points and strengths and all kinds of stuff. And you know, the whole feel of Savage Crucible definitely works within that realm. So maybe they're going to do some type of game. I don't know, but that would be pretty awesome. In any case, though, it is cool to get this trading card with some really dope artwork on it. One of the coolest things about these Savage Crucible figures is that they fit in seamlessly with so many different lines out there. These days, we have a bunch of action figure lines that are like fantasy inspired, you know, like the whole sword and sorcery thing, featuring like creatures with a bunch of armor and like, you know, knights and like weird monsters and goblins and gladiators and all that type of stuff. And even though these are all different lines, they all feel like they could exist in the same world. So I think that is super cool. But to show that off a little bit, we're going to do a bunch of size comparisons. So here we have the Savage Crucible Royal Guard alongside a couple of HARVINGER dinosaurs. And as you can see, like, these guys work together perfectly. And then here we have them alongside some HARVINGER Studios figures. On the left, we have one of the Combatants Fight for Glory Wave 1 figures. And then on the right, we have the LA Comic-Con exclusive Bighorn. And, you know, once again, the Royal Guard figure from Savage Crucible looks perfect next to them. And then next up, we have him alongside the Mythic Legions Demonstros and the Mythic Legions Purplore by the Four Horsemen. And the Four Horsemen deserve a lot of credit for this whole genre being so popular in the 1/12 scale action figure world. I think they really pioneered, you know, like the fantasy inspired original characters. But man, it's so cool to see like all these different lines being so compatible with each other. I think the Savage Crucible stuff is going to look amazing next to Mythic Legions. As you can see, they look awesome together right there. And then here we have him alongside the Four Horsemen Cosmic Legions Waltor and the Four Horsemen Mythic Legions Valiant Knight. And I think these lizard men can work really well for Cosmic Legions as well. You know, imagine like one of your Cosmic Legions characters runs across a planet that has a race of lizard men. You know, I think that could work out really well. And then next up, we have him alongside the Mezco 112 Collective Conan and the NECA Phantom. And I think these lizard men would make perfect villains for Conan. And then next up, we have him alongside Pale by SperoToys. On the opposite side, we have the Mithril Studios, Guardians of the Horde Ogre. I think that's the name of that company, Mithril Studios. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments. Anyways, I freaking love that figure. That thing is awesome. But as far as the SperoToys stuff goes, I think that the Savage Crucible figures fit in well with them, but the SperoToys do kind of have more of like a cartoony kind of feel to them, which is awesome. But the Savage Crucible stuff is a little bit more like realistic, I guess you could say. But I still think that they could pretty much work together. I think some of the accessories will cross over pretty well, you know. And then here we have them alongside the Masters of the Universe 40th Anniversary Masterverse He-Man and the Masterverse Whiplash. And then here we have them alongside the Jada Toys Street Fighter Fei Long and Dalsim. Hey, you could even fit them in with your Marvel stuff. Here we have them alongside the Marvel Legends Hercules and the Marvel Legends 80th Anniversary Thor. And then lastly, here we have them alongside the Marvel Legends Renew Your Vows Spider-Man and the Marvel Legends Bucky Cap. I tried to get a little bit of everything into the size comparisons here, so I do hope that was helpful for you guys. And the articulation on this guy is pretty damn awesome. There's a lot of great things going on here. Thankfully, the armor doesn't really get in the way of the articulation, except for in the arm. I do feel like the forearm guard does limit the elbow just a little bit, but aside from that, none of these armor pieces hinder any of the articulation, and everything moves pretty freely, you know? So I was happy to see that. And yeah, man, I think they did a good job with the articulation. The figure's definitely a lot of fun to play with and could get into some cool poses. But let's go ahead and see what we have going on here, starting off at the head. So he does have movement at the upper neck, so he's able to tilt a little bit there, as you can see. He could swing his head side to side. You know, it's going to be kind of weird because he, you know, it's a reptile, so the head is like a weird shape. But yeah, it could swing side to side. It could rotate on there just a little bit. He could look up to about right there. Then he could look down to right there. I do wish that there was movement at the lower neck. I think that would have been pretty awesome. But as it is right now, we still get some decent movement out of the head area. And then, of course, he does have the articulated jaw, so you could open up the mouth. So that's always fun. But yeah, pretty good movement at the head. And then for the torso, I love what we have going on here because we have a ball joint here at the diaphragm and a ball joint at the waist. And using both of those, he's able to crunch forward a really nice amount. Check that out. Then he could go side to side a really nice amount. The diaphragm cut is crazy. Look at that. That's really awesome. And the waist joint is pretty good too. And I like that, you know, the belt here is like a floating piece, so it just kind of moves out of the way as you need it to, you know. So it's not going to really bother the waist articulation all that much. It is a little tight in there just because, you know, that's how they did it. You're going to get most of your movement out of the diaphragm, but man, it it moves a really good amount. So that's nice. And then you can twist at the diaphragm as well. You could kind of twist at the waist, but again, it is a little tight in there. But good stuff at the torso. And then for the arms, he does have butterfly joints. They go forward to about right there, which is really nice. So you could get his arms in front of him a pretty good amount. And what I really like about this too is that you could actually get both of his hands in front of him if you want him to like grip onto his sword with his two hands. So that's always cool. So yeah, pretty good stuff here with this butterfly joint. Doesn't really go back at all. It just kind of goes back in place, but it's not like you can move it further back than that. So it only goes forward. But still pretty good. Check that out. And then he does have ball joints at the shoulders as well that go all the way around. And you could bring his arms up to the side a really good amount. And then on this side, he does have this shoulder pad, but it doesn't get in the way at all because it's soft plastic and, you know, it's on a ball joint, so it just kind of moves out of the way, so that's nice. And then he does have upper bicep swivel. It's kind of tight in there, but it does swivel. He has double jointed elbows. You can also swivel at the top of the elbow there. And then as I mentioned before, it's a little limited because of the forearm guard. But yeah, he could bend his elbow to about right there. I'm curious to see how much it could bend on the figures that have nothing on the forearms. I wonder if it could go much more than that. But yeah, it bends to about right there. And I like the way they did the knees and the elbows. It kind of reminds me of the NECA Prey Predator figure. And some of the other NECA figures do their joints like this too. But yeah, I think it's a good setup. It looks good and it functions really well. And then at the hand, you're able to swivel and then you could hinge. And then for the legs, he does have ball joints here at the hips. And he could kick forward to about right there. And when you crunch him forward with the diaphragm and ab crunch and all that, it kind of makes it look like he's kicking up even higher. So that's always nice. Look at that. Boom. Then he could kick to the side to about right there. Man, I love this diaphragm joint. It just helps you with everything, you know. But yeah, he could kick out to the side a really good amount. And then he does have upper thigh swivel. And then the hip joint also rotates on the ball joint on the inside of there. So you get some nice swivel up in there from two different points. And then he does have double jointed knees. And the knee is constructed in the same way as the elbow. But check that out. With the knee, because of, you know, the shin guard being lower, you're able to see the full range. So that's nice. But yeah, they did a good job with the legs, especially considering all this armor and stuff. But like I said, it just kind of moves out of the way, or it's soft plastic. Boom, look at that. And then you can also swivel at the upper knee if you want. I don't know if you need to, but you get a little bit of swivel out of there, a little bit of swivel on the lower leg as well. And then down here at the ankle, he's able to swivel side to side. We get some rocking ankle action. Could go forward to right there, come up to right there, and then he does have the toe hinge. I do wish the toe hinge was a little bit tighter, but yeah, it does get some crazy range though. Look at that. But yeah, man, I think the articulation on this guy is pretty damn awesome. Oh, almost forgot. He does have articulation here at the tail. There's a hinge that meets like right in there, and you could also swivel, so if you wanted to hinge like a different way or whatever. And then throughout the tail, there's like little ball joints in there, so you could do all kinds of good stuff. But yeah, I think they killed it with the articulation. I'm especially impressed by the torso setup, because look at that. Boom. That is really dope. Yeah, you could have these lizard men just kind of creeping around. The only thing I really think he's missing is a joint at the lower neck and then just a little bit more range at the elbows. But aside from that, the articulation on these guys is really impressive. Man, that's dope right there. So yeah, definitely a lot of fun to play with. Lots of good stuff going on. I think they killed it with the articulation on this guy. Very happy with it. Alrighty, so overall, at the end of the day, when the smoke clears, the dust settles, and it's all said and done, I think this is a really dope figure. It's got a great design. It's really well sculpted. There's a whole bunch of detail in there, from the scaly skin to the detailed design work on the armor. It's a great looking figure. The painting work is really nice too. I like the metallic shine that the armor has, and the Snake Man himself has a whole bunch of good paint work going on. So yeah, they killed it with the design. It's a beautiful looking figure. And the accessories are cool. He comes with 2 sets of swords and 2 sets of hands, so that's nice. It would have been cool to get some more weapons, but I'm pretty happy with what's here. I think it's basically, you know, all a reptilian armored warrior would need, you know, some hands and some swords. You're kind of good to go with that. More weapons would have been nice, but I am happy with what's here. I really like the trading card that he comes with. I don't know if that's considered like a straight up accessory, but I think it's pretty cool. It's nice to get some awesome artwork based on these guys and some information, so that's really dope. The articulation is really nice on him. It's definitely fun to play with. It's got a hand candy, hand friendly appeal. It's gonna be one of those those types of lines that you're going to want to pick them up and play with them all the time, because there's a whole bunch of great articulation. I like what they did with the torso. That type of setup really allows for some dynamic posing, so I think they killed it with the fun factor and the articulation. And I think the main appeal of this whole line is the fact that it's so compatible with other fantasy lines out there. These guys are going to look amazing next to Savage Studios, SperoToys, and Mythic Legions. I can't wait to see like all the photography of, you know, like all these different lines crossing over with each other. I think it's going to be awesome. The only gripe I have with this figure is that his feet are a little weak, you know. He kind of has some trouble standing because the figure is a little top heavy and the ankles just kind of seem a little loose, so he falls over pretty frequently. If you have him in a cool pose, I don't think you really have to worry about it, but if he's just standing up, you may get some trouble. So maybe that's something they could improve on in the future. But aside from that, this thing is really, really dope all the way around. And another cool thing about this figure is that if you have like a couple of them, you could swap parts between them. I only have one, so I wasn't able to do that, but that is a feature of these guys. You could kind of put the armor from certain characters onto other characters, and there's all kinds of like customizing potential there, so that's a lot of fun too. So I can't wait to get a couple more and see how the armor is able to swap between them. So yeah, man, I think they absolutely killed it on this, and I can't wait to see what else is in store for this line. They have other monsters on the way and like humans, and I can't wait to see like what they do with different types of creatures. They killed it with the reptilian warriors, but I want to see how they do with the humans. And there's one character that's more of like a hairy beast. I can't wait to see that figure. That's gonna be dope. But yeah, man, they've got some good stuff going on here. I can't wait to see where this line goes. And huge shout out to the folks over at Savage Crucible for sending this out to me to take a look at. I think this guy turned out awesome. You guys have a very cool action figure line on your hands, so I wish you guys the best. And huge shout out to them just for being awesome people. Like, they definitely helped me out on my Kickstarter journey when I was working on my Odious figure. I got a lot of great advice from them, and I'm forever going to be grateful for that. So huge shout out to them for the awesome figure and just being awesome people. And yeah, with that, I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Also, be sure to hit the bell notification so you know every time that I go live. Thank you very much. Peace.